like sitting on my leg. Hey y'all! It is our 5th meeting of our Becoming Unlimited support group. This is nuts that we've done 5 of these now.
And with 3 months almost.
Yes, yeah, we're almost at 3 months of doing this. And so I just want to give you a little bit of a welcome and let you know that this is something that we are going to continue to do, because at least Ashley and I love it, and we're going to continue to do it. But when I was diagnosed with anxiety in 2010, do you have like a time of when you were like actually diagnosed? Like, have you had anxiety your whole life, or like?
So actually, and this is something that we can talk about if everybody likes. So I was actually misdiagnosed ADHD for like the first 5.5 years before the anxiety bipolar BPD diagnosis came up. So I was like being wrongfully medicated, wrongfully treated, wrongfully diagnosed, and that started at like 6-7 years old.
Okay.
So.
All right, so I was thinking about that earlier, actually, that looking back on, like, my life and my younger years, y'all, I've had anxiety my whole life.
Yeah.
But I never knew what it was, right? And I never knew what I could do to unpack it. And so that's why we created this kind of space. And so you are welcome to come down and join us in person. We have plenty of room down here to chat and unpack anxiety and hear about some new things. Today's going to be super fun, but that is why we started doing this. And so we are super glad for the people that come down and join us in person, for the people that join us live, for just the community of support that we have, because you are not alone on your anxiety, your mental health, your personal growth journey. You're not alone there. There are other people doing all different kinds of things that we can all connect some way together. And when I was first actually diagnosed with anxiety, first of all, if I had had somewhere to unpack what I was going through when I was younger, I might have realized that I had anxiety a lot sooner than 2010. But in 2010, I had no idea what was going on with my anxiety. And if I had a safe place where I could go and unpack all of those things and be together with other people and just learn and grow, I would have loved it. So that is why we started doing this support group. So you can hear a little bit from us live. You can also come down in person and do some activities, which we're going to get to today. We're going to do a fun activity. We're going to get to our giveaway. If you joined us last week, we showed you some little jewelries that we're going to give away. So we have some people, some names in a bag, and we're going to get to that in a little while. But we are going to talk about mindfulness a little bit. So say hey when y'all get on. Let us know that you're here. We love interacting with you. You can leave us your questions in the comments. You can, tag a friend, say hey. We're just all here to unpack this anxiety life, this mental health awareness life together. And so today we're going to talk about mindfulness a little bit, and that is something that when I was first diagnosed with anxiety and people were like, oh, just be mindful, just do mindfulness.
But nobody talks about what it is.
What are you talking about?
But nobody talks about what it is, right? Have you guys ever heard that? If anybody's ever told you to be mindful, but has never explained it, drop a 1. Like, because I guarantee that was probably everybody. Like, considering that I've been teaching mindfulness, you guys, for 5 years, I spent a good 15 years of my life being told, be mindful, and not really being told what that meant outside of just being told to pay attention. Yeah. Right? The pay attention. Well, like, I am paying attention. Like, I'm here and I'm paying attention, but, like, I don't understand what mindful means.
Yeah, like it's deeper than just like, oh, pay attention. And when people would tell me like, just be mindful, just, calm down and be mindful, I'm like, what are you talking about?
It almost makes you frustrated.
What does mindfulness even mean? There's no way for my mind to calm down. Like, what does this even mean? And so we're going to get into that a little bit today. And it's funny because I was talking about that this morning on the Daily Drive, and you have to go watch on Netflix. Leslie Jones, do you know who Leslie Jones is? She has a stand-up that is so funny, and I thought of you because she came out on stage with a knee brace on the outside of her pants, and she was like, I don't even care, I'm wearing the brace on the outside, I'm not messing up my knee anymore trying to be cute for y'all.
Oh my God,
and it was so funny. But she was talking about, it's all funny and raunchy, but then they have to have their moment of seriousness, and she was talking about how, I don't know if it was a dream that she had or just something that she wanted to do. She was talking about if she had a time machine, what she would do with the time machine. And she said that she would go back, to her past self and, tell her past self, like, don't date that person, don't take that job, like, that's not going to work out,
wouldn't we all do that, though?
Right,
really?
go back and, give yourself a heads up or whatever. But then she said with the time machine, when she got to her future self was like, stop worrying about all of that and just go back to the present and enjoy where you are now. And I was like, dang, like it's so true that like we spend so much time worrying about the past and stressing about the future and the what if and all of that stuff that we don't pay attention to what's going on right now. And one of the things that I reminded my husband when, I started on this like personal growth journey that I've been on is like to help me be mindful of certain things, because one of the reasons that I bought my house was I looked at it in the springtime and all the trees were in bloom, all the plants, the bushes in the front were all in bloom. And then I noticed after a few years of living there that like the whole spring season would go by and I didn't even notice that my trees had bloomed. Or like I'll come home one day and notice that all the blooms are dead on the ground now and I didn't pay attention to them while they were on the tree.
Because you're so caught up in your day-to-day
because I'm just so caught up in everything else. And so I actually told my husband, like, if you notice that I haven't noticed this, like, point it out, because it's one of those things that helps me remember right now. And it had me thinking about like how many times I've driven somewhere, how many times I've gone to the grocery store, how many times I have been to someone's wedding, someone's funeral, someone's hi Kimmy, someone's whatever. It just had me thinking about all the times.
You haven't really been there, right?
That
because
I've
when you go
been
to,
somewhere.
Pick back at the memory of the day, you're like, oh man, I don't really remember as much as I thought I did.
Yeah.
Like, how many of you guys can do that? How many of you are drop a 2, if you are not mindful? If you're not mindful in the sense that, yes, you are here and you're present and you're talking, but when you later go back to those experiences to recall what was happening, you can't find certain details or certain things that, you feel like you really should know aren't there. Like, drop a 3 if you are one of those people where you've noticed that about yourself, because that's truly really one of the key things about being mindful, about being present. And you guys have probably heard me say that multiple times now during our meetings, is that I constantly say be mindful and then I follow it up with be present. Yeah. And I like that term more because, like I said, be mindful is still kind of a trigger for me because that was like drilled into my head, but no context was ever given. So it was like I was constantly navigating toward this purpose that had no definition, no foundation. So I was just constantly going in a direction with no real guidance. It was just, I'm aiming for this, but I don't even know what this is. And if you can relate to that at all, like, please tell me, because I feel like with anxiety especially, that's a familiar thing to get caught up in. And it's funny that Sarah mentioned specifically, having her husband remind her, like, this one, my partner is the same way. Owen also has me be like, hey, when you see this, like, remind me, because like, I'm working on being present, but sometimes I'm still caught up in stuff that I'm not really catching it. And that's honestly perfect for us to talk about the mindful bottle.
I love this so much.
So if you guys caught the last group meeting, which was our 4th meeting, which, by the way, we will be announcing the giveaway winners today, so stay tuned because that's coming up next. But we talked about bringing in the mindful bottle for you guys and talking about it. And this is one of my favorite things to do. Like I mentioned to you earlier, I've been teaching mindfulness for 5 years now. So as a massage therapist, I took the initiative to go take additional certifications and classes to learn more in depth about mindfulness, a positive growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, as well as just being able to cultivate and practice that into your everyday life. And this is something that I actually do with my clients. I teach classes on it. And I brought this today to share it with you guys, to give you a potential tool to use to better help yourselves. And if you guys are interested, me and Sarah are actually going to be hosting a class next month here, so you can come make a mindful bottle with us. That way you don't have to worry about making a mess in your home, going out to get the supplies. We'll have it all here for you, ready to make. And I'm going to get close so you guys can see while I explain it to you. But so some people call this a mindful bottle. Some people call this, well, I'll actually come on this side. Some people call this a calming bottle. Some people use these for their kids when they're traveling on long rides. Some people use it for mindfulness when they're stressed and overwhelmed. Some people actually use it to learn and study how the brain works, because this bottle is your brain, you guys. And so like we had mentioned in the last video, if you recall, you have 60,000 thoughts a day. And so in this bottle, in this brain, we have 60,000 thoughts a day, and that's the glitter here at the bottom. And similar to your brain, remember what we said, we had 40,000, right, that are from the day before. So when we start getting stressed and overwhelmed and thinking about all those things that we were thinking about the day before, this is what our brain looks like. We can't think, we can't see. We're so stressed out and overwhelmed that we really need to just take the time to breathe and be present. And as you can see, as you take the time to just sit here and breathe and be present, you can see that the bottle slowly begins to settle, just like your thoughts will and just like your feelings will. So when you're feeling really overwhelmed and stressed out, some people will use this as a technique to help calm themselves down. People even use this with their children to help them calm down after a tantrum. I, as an adult, use this for myself to calm down after a tantrum. And so this, like I said, this is something that I teach my clients and I do with them and I teach classes on. And it's something that we want to bring to you guys. So if you would like to join us next month for this class at our meeting, let us know, because we want to help give you guys not just informational tools, but physical tools that you can use. It doesn't even have to be a bottle this big. You can make it a small one to fit in your pocket, whatever you want. But this is something that I use, that my daughter has one. I made this one for Sarah. And so if you guys want to make it and you're interested in it, drop it in the comments and we totally want you to come. If you are not local, but you would still
asked if we can do it virtually.
Yes, if you would still like to participate, we can actually send you a list of exactly what you need and you can go out and get it and you can join us in person virtually and do it with us as well.
Yay! I love it. I'm so excited. And I love that, like, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I love that it is just a, like, physical reminder of being present, because that's all mindfulness is. And I like that you said that you even just say being present versus mindfulness, because when we hear mindfulness, we think it's
what
something big, crazy, that, like, we have to stop everything and whatever. But, like, literally, you can be mindful, like, of every second throughout the day.
So, like, some of the common myths of mindfulness, so I've actually gone over this in my group page.
Oh, I love it.
So some of the most common myths of mindfulness are that you have to be seated in this weird contorted position. That's not true. Like we've talked about, you can do movement meditation and be mindful. You can do a walking meditation and be mindful. You don't have to just sit all bent up in a way like, being this, you don't have to chant. People think you have to chant, like,
yeah,
like that's not a thing.
Like people think that it's similar to like meditating or
like
something
when you look at a Buddhist monk or you look at a yoga practitioner, people are like, that's being mindful. No.
Yeah.
Choosing to walk from my porch down to my mailbox to get my mail and choosing to acknowledge that my grass is a little greener than usual. I probably need to cut it. There's some trash on the edge of the street that I should probably pick up. The neighbors are blasting music again. I'm being present.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about the 15 million things I have to do. I'm not thinking about the 15 million things that stress me out every day. And I'm just taking in everything that's around me, but also just accepting it for what it is, right? Not allowing myself to get frustrated or irritated at myself.
You don't need to change it right now. You're just aware of what's there.
It is what it is. You don't want to get worked up. You don't want to
get
your
neighbors playing music too loud. Like it's just there. You're not going to do anything about it.
Like we've talked about, you can choose to get triggered because that irritates you, but you can also just choose to say, hey, that's something that I just acknowledged, I became aware of, and now I'm going to go about my day. And that's all being present really is.
Yeah, and so it helps with, like, the reactive mind, with the reactive state that you want to be. And I love that you are talking about just going out to your mailbox for a walk. Like, that's what I did earlier today. A lot of times for me, when I'm going for a walk or when I'm at the gym, even if I'm listening to something, I'm still finding myself thinking about, you know, what am I going to go home and do after the gym? What am I going to...
You hop on the hamster wheel.
Because it's everything is just there. But this morning, I made it an intentional point to be mindful and be aware while I was taking a walk. And so I took a 45-minute walk, and what helps me stay mindful while I'm walking is listening to worship music. So I had just one earbud in because I still like to hear things with the other ear, the other ear. So I had just one earbud in, and I was listening to worship music, walking around, noticing the things in the neighborhood. And when I realized that I was thinking about something else, or that I was stressing about, what we're going to talk about here or whatever, I just reminded myself to be present in this moment, and even looked around and found something to be present. The flowers on somebody's fence, the grass, like you were saying, in your yard. There's this weird thing in my neighborhood where I guess somebody's tree, like the power line, grew through the tree, and they just cut the tree off, and so now there's just a stump hanging out in the power line.
Let's be 100% real. If you weren't being present, if you weren't being aware, how long would you go without knowing that? Right?
I have taken a 45-minute walk before and couldn't tell you where I went in the neighborhood, couldn't tell you what I listened to, couldn't tell you, what the weather was like, because I was just, like you said, on the hamster wheel of thinking about everything. I can't tell you how many times I've gone on like a family trip, and we've gotten home, and my mom has been like, did you see the pretty mountains on the way home? And I'm like, no, like I was looking out the window the whole time. Where were these mountains at? They were there, but I didn't acknowledge them because I'm in somewhere else.
And that's what we've talked about, right? We mentioned it last time, especially being in the vehicle, how you're in autopilot and you get to your location and you're like, wait, how did I get here?
Yeah.
Which way did I drive?
That 20-minute drive is just...
And that in itself can cause anxiety.
Yeah.
Like you are disassociating to reduce the anxiety, but once your awareness comes back, it creates its own sense of anxiety of like, holy crap, like this sense of time is just gone, and my attachment to that time is not fully there. And so especially for people that have a hard time remembering, or were bullied or belittled for not being able to remember, it's a trauma response, and you get triggered by your own trigger, and that's how you become your own trigger. And we've talked about that too. And honestly, I just want to do like an entire day on
I know. You can do a whole day on like being anxious about anxiety.
and being your own trigger, because it's one of those things where like, yes, the things that people did to you were wrong and bad, and the way that people gave you information and the way you set up that information in your mind because of how it was portrayed to you. But again, once, like we've said before, you develop a sense of awareness, right?
Yeah.
When you hit puberty, those hormones, they give you, these feelings and then these thoughts, and you start processing differently. And then the people you choose to surround yourself with, that also gives you a circle of influence on how your thoughts are going to be. But then you get to decide, am I choosing to think this way because this person wants me to? Am I choosing to think this way because others around me think this way and it's the only way I know how? Or am I choosing to think outside the box and just think that maybe I could do it differently?
Yeah.
And that comes just down to discipline and self-will, which is something as humans we all struggle with.
Yeah.
With, if you think about diet culture, if you just think about societal norms, it's a hard thing to say like, yes, I don't care what anybody says about me, and I'm gonna do it anyway. Let's be real, we all care to an extent. Like it's ingrained in us as a human being in society to care, even when we tell ourselves not to. So again, it's that practice, that muscle of getting off the hamster wheel, of being present, of accepting that you got back on the hamster wheel even when you didn't want to, and just continuing to keep trying.
Yeah, and that's why mindfulness is so helpful with anxiety, because most of the time with anxiety it's because we're stressing about some other thing that's not right here in front of us right now. And so mindfulness, when you redirect your mind to just be in the present moment, and when you make that a practice and you can have yourself being mindful more often than you're not mindful, then your whole day is different. Your whole day
Yeah.
goes differently. When things happen, you handle them differently because you're not in that reactive mind stressing about the future.
Yep.
You're in the present moment right now. And when I started on the personal growth journey that I've been on and learned that gratitude and mindfulness are intentional things that I can do up front without having any kind of trigger. Nothing has to trigger you to be mindful.
No, it's a choice.
Right?
It's a choice.
It's a choice to be mindful and to live in the present moment. Nothing has to trigger you. Nothing. You can have triggers, like I told my husband to tell me when the flowers are in bloom so I can remember. Right? You can have reminders, but there's nothing that's going to trigger you to be mindful other than being aware of your thinking and knowing when you need to take a moment and breathe.
Yeah.
And it's something that I incorporate into my day all throughout the day now, waking up with that intentional practice that I'm going to be mindful of this day. I'm going to do things that are going to attract abundance today. I'm going to be mindful of those things while I'm doing them.
I'm going to practice gratitude.
I'm going to practice gratitude and be mindful of that gratitude while I'm doing it, because you can't practice gratitude while you're thinking about something else or gossiping with a friend.
Present.
You have to be mindful of that gratitude as well. And so it's something that you can intentionally put in front of you
at any time.
At any time.
Place. You don't need to go see a fancy therapist. You don't got to stress with your insurance.
You don't have to wait.
You don't got to remember to take that pill every morning. You can just decide in that moment, I need to stop and I need to be aware and I need to be present and I need to be mindful because it's in my best interest.
Right.
Whether it feels comfortable or not, because it's hard, right, to say, well, I'm frustrated right now. I'm overwhelmed. Of course you don't want to. Right? But how is that going to serve you?
Right.
And that thought seems so far away, right? When you're caught up on the wheel, it's like, who cares if it's going to serve me? But like,
I got to get all this stuff done.
But like we know with riding a bike, it's muscle memory. The more you do it, the more that thought is going to become the forefront. It's not going to be, well, why does it matter? It's going to be, it matters because.
Yeah.
Right? It always matters because. For me, as somebody who's super reactive, and not just in an anxiety way, but a bipolar way, like I go from I am extremely happy to I am angry and will cuss somebody out over the littlest things, to where now I can actually hear the anxiety in other people's voices, and I can hear them getting overwhelmed, and I'm over here like,
you need to be mindful.
You're about to freak me out because I should be freaking out and I'm not, and this is interesting, and it's because I chose to say, hey, this is not convenient. This is not what I wanted to happen, but I am still choosing to take it for what it is and go on with my day, because that's all I can actively do, right? And that's something that you totally have to pat yourself on the back for. And it's not just a phone conversation, returning that email, returning that text message, driving somewhere, making that appointment, talking to that person that you don't want to talk to because it makes your stomach turn in knots. Like, drop a 5. That is me 100% every time. But you have the opportunity, like Sarah said with mindfulness, to just take in everything around you, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally, for what it is. Mm-hmm. You don't have to like it. You don't have to accept it in that moment, but just look at it and say, okay, and then just move on.
Yeah, and it's also a choice how you're going to let that affect your energy.
Yep.
Because you can be mindful of something happening, right? And in the present moment
you can still
living there,
choose to be like, hey, I'm not gonna do this.
Right, and then it's like, cool, I'm mindful of it, but like a neighbor playing loud music, like we just said, I'm mindful of it, but I'm going to choose not to react to it because I'm mindful of the rest of the things that I have going on in my life, right?
Oh my gosh, here, let me give you all a good example. You just said that.
I know, there's like so many examples of it.
This is an example of that and manifesting, like we've talked about with words. So we live on a corner, right? Yes. So we live on a corner road. It's a fork road. You go this way or you go this way. People like to speed in our neighborhood. Owen parks his truck in front of the house, and
Owen's truck is huge.
It's like 800.
It's like a dually.
Plus pounds. And the worst part is when people come speeding around that corner, especially to leave the neighborhood, they almost hit his vehicle sometimes. So where his office is in the house, he can see. that corner, right? And we do have a few specific vehicles in the neighborhood that are known for coming around the corner recklessly. And one day in the middle of a stressful work day, if you guys don't know anything about software engineering, it is the most mind-numbing thing that you could ever think of, and it is extremely stressful. You will spend 10 hours trying to test something that in 10 minutes you knew was broken to try to fix, just for an example. And so they came, you could hear them wheel out, burn out, almost hit his car. And I saw him before I could even say anything, and it was going to be present, don't. He stormed out that door, drove down to the person's house.
Oh gosh.
And tried, even though he was frustrated, he tried to politely be like, look, whoever drives that vehicle needs to stop because they've almost hit my vehicle multiple. And the person immediately got reactive because they could see he was worked up, like even though he was trying to be in control. And so they got reactive, which made him get reactive, right? And so he was just like, look, point blank is I'm going to call the cops if you keep doing this. End of story. I have a camera on the side of my house. I've caught you guys doing it multiple times. I'll just put in the footage to the police. And, you know, somebody, of course, came by the house later on and was like, don't come in my yard. And he's like, cool, I didn't come in your yard. Like, don't speed around my house or I'm going to call the cops. Well, 2 weeks ago, I noticed a Chesterfield police officer sitting on the back end of the corner where people speed, where they would not be seen. Owen didn't actually call anybody, you guys. But he put it out there with his energy, how irritated he was that this was not going to continue, regardless of if other people agreed with him or not. So think about that. With agitated, angered energy, when you can manifest anything. So you can manifest more stress and anxiety by letting your stress and anxiety take control.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing, but that's what mindfulness helps you reduce. Like, mindfulness and gratitude literally changes not only the layout of your brain, but the chemistry, which is why not only are we going to be doing a bottle craft class next month, but we're also going to do a mindfulness class next month, you guys.
We're expanding.
That you can also come and do in person. And Kimmy, yes, same as before. We're also going to offer the virtual setup as well. If people do not, if the people that do attend do not want to be recorded, we will just make sure that the camera is set up in the way where you still see me and Sarah per usual, and the other participants are still here practicing, because, you know, even though this is something that we do locally, this is something that we still want to share with everybody everywhere. So please still keep tagging your friends and adding them to the group and adding them to our meetings, because like we said, we not only want to give you informative tools, but we want to give you physical tools to be able to succeed in learning how to take control. And honestly, being mindful and being present and being aware is really the first step, because unless you become aware of your feelings, unless you become aware of your thoughts, unless you become aware of why something irritates your feelings and gives you certain thoughts, you're never really going to get past that hurdle of why. Mm-hmm. Like, why am I here? Well, what sets you off? Why does it set you off? Why does it make you feel that way? Like we talked about before, when you can start answering the why instead of just asking yourself why, you're going to start taking that next step, and mindfulness practice helps you get there. And so we want to give you guys an actual physical, virtual, in-person experience of what that looks like. Mm-hmm. As somebody who experiences heart palpitations from stress, not just anxiety, but just physical stress, that's what mindfulness helps me with. When I start getting stressed and overwhelmed, I immediately catch a migraine. I start suffering heart palpitations. I can't really breathe. I can't control my body temperature. And I kid you guys not, if I sit down and do a 2 to 5 minute breath bubble and I'm just working on calming down my nervous system, I can make all of those symptoms completely stop. I don't have to take anything. I don't have to do anything else but just breathe. That's just from practice, you guys. That's 5 years of just ongoing practice every day. Just once here, once there. Like I think I've mentioned to you guys before, I do like the basic, 1-2 time a day practice. Some days I practice it 8 times a day. Sometimes 15 times a day.
Sometimes it doesn't really turn off. You just have to keep it there all day.
It's a constant state of being, and the more you can do that, the more peace and tranquility that you bring to your life, and the more overall positive mindset that you can actually achieve easier.
That's why I like to say that you get to become aware of your thoughts, because
it's a choice.
It's a choice, and when you become aware of your thoughts, then you get to control them, and you get to choose which way you're going. So that's why I love to say that you get to become aware of your thoughts, and I do that by journaling mostly. But I was just about to say, speaking of tagging people, let's do our giveaway real quick, and then we'll talk about a couple more things.
Yeah. Oh, and so real quick, I want to tell you guys, so I just want to give a general shout out because we actually have 20 entries in this bag. And as you know, yes, you could have multiple entries per person, and a lot of people do have multiple entries. But you guys, it's like even across the board. And so I wanted to just give a really huge shout out to a lot of the people who supported and engaged, not just with the groups in general, but specifically with our community support meeting, because that's what this giveaway is for you guys who specifically come here and engage with us and ask us questions, and just, are here for the resources. So Loretta, Kimberly, Angel, Melissa, Amy, another Angel, Wynn, Haley, all of you, and so many more have been extremely supportive, and we appreciate you so much. And that's why we are giving away the earrings and the necklace to say thank you. Sarah's gonna go grab them, and she'll show you guys real quick. I have everybody's names here in this bag. They've all been cut on the same size paper, all folded exactly the same shape, so there's no way that I could potentially mess up in any way, shape, or form.
No favoritism.
Right?
Are we just gonna say earrings and draw?
Yeah, we're gonna do earrings first, and then but real quick, and then I just wanted to give a very special shout out though to our very two top supporters. Though we have a lot of people who have shared, liked, comment, subscribed to our pages, our newsletters. Haley Kamens and Amy Sumi were the top two, so thank you guys so much. We appreciate your love and support. It means everything. And so we are going to do
We're gonna do the earrings first.
So,
hi Angel. Hey Tammy. Hey Kimmy.
So I'm going to draw for you, and then I'll let you draw for me.
Okay. These earrings were ones that I made, so Ashley's gonna pull a name out for the winner for these.
It was Melissa and Bandy. So,
yes. Melissa, Bandy.
We will end up tagging you and messaging you, especially if you guys did not see.
Those earrings are yours. And Ashley is going to show you her necklace, and I'm going to pick somebody for our necklace giveaway.
And so if you guys remember, this is actually...
Is it the same one you have on?
Yeah, it's actually an opal necklace. It's a precious stone. It's actually the birthstone, believe it or not, for October. But I really like it, and it's a great stone because it's good for all of the chakras and support for amplifying emotional acceptance.
Okay.
And peace. So.
All right, there you go.
Yes.
So let's see who's going to grab the necklace. It is going to be Amy! Yay! Yay! Amy, you'll grab that necklace. Thank y'all so much for supporting us and for sharing, tagging all of your friends. You can still do that and continue to help us out, but we appreciate all of the shares and the tags and all of the things, subscribing to our stuff. We'll still put that information in the comments, but congratulations to y'all, Melissa and Amy.
And again, you guys, if you liked this, and we will totally do another giveaway next month, especially on top of the classes. If the classes go well, we may even give away a free class pass. As for pricing on the classes that are coming up, we don't have the full pricing set in stone yet because there is a parking fee. But we are going to include the parking fee in the cost of the class, so you don't have to worry about paying additional stuff. Outside of that, the bottle craft class for people that come in person, since we'll be supplying you guys all the materials, is going to be $20. Like I said, that could change slightly with the parking fee. We're confirming with them because if we can get enough people, we can get a reduced rate, which means we can adjust accordingly. So if you really are interested, locally, if you are local and you would like to come join us in person, please do let us know and we can work that out. As for just the mindfulness class that we'll do after the mindful bottle class, that's just a $10 fee. Like I said, it could be a little bit more once the parking gets added in, but again, same as before, bulk people means a discount rate. The church has been really wonderful about, you know, helping us with the space and giving us the space so we can bring this to you guys. We are right here in Richmond. You can have the address on the flyer, and as always, we'll drop it in the chat. So if you are interested in the Mindful Bottle class, go ahead and drop a red heart in the comments for me, whether that's you're interested virtually or you're interested in person. Please do comment also which one you're interested in, because it's helpful.
Yeah,
but
let us know if you're local or not.
But either way, and then again with the mindfulness class that we're going to do after that, again, if you are interested in that one, go ahead and drop a purple heart and let us know, and I'll drop that information as a reminder again in the comments after the live. But we just appreciate you guys so much. We really want to be able to do more giveaways. We really want to be able to start bringing these classes to you.
Give you more actual tools to
use. And even in the mindfulness classes, you know, a lot of people, like we've talked about with myths, a lot of people think it's just sitting and oohing and eyeing and talking. But we'll actually literally go over a little bit of the back history and the psychology science behind mindfulness, like we already have touched base on just a little bit, and the many different types of practices and how they benefit you, and how you can incorporate crystals as well as sage or Palo Santo if that's something that's in your network. I know some people just use basic incense. Those are other things that you can incorporate to enhance your practice, and we want to bring you all of those resources and skills, like I said before, whether that's in person or virtually as well. And as usual, I know some people are weird about being on camera, but like we do with this, no participant testimonies are shared, just me and Sarah share our experiences. And the same thing would happen with the class. If you are not comfortable being on camera, we would have it set up in a way that the people who virtually would want to see what's happening and can be taught, but that everybody else could still have the desired privacy. Because that's what this is, guys. It's a safe place. It's not to push you out of your comfort zone, but it's to encourage you to want to step out of your comfort zone.
Just to help you grow.
Be the person that you want. Like, that's why you're here.
Like, grow into your potential. There's so much potential that we block because of all of these things that we're talking about. So keep an eye out for next month's group meetings and classes that we are doing. Congratulations again to Melissa and Amy. Thank y'all all so much. And just remember, like, mindfulness isn't a big, huge, scary thing. Just take a moment, stop, breathe, be present, be aware with what's going on around you, and just get out of like your worry bubble. Just be aware and be in the current moment with yourself. Do you want to add anything else?
No, I mean, I feel like that really like touched base on everything that we wanted to do today. We really wanted to do the giveaway for everybody. You guys, I mean, even in just a week's time, built up so much engagement for us, and we really appreciate it. Because you guys, we're not paying ourselves to do this. We're taking our time out of our schedule to create this resource for you guys, because we wish somebody had given us this resource, you know? And so knowing that, it just makes us passionate in sharing the resource, but we also, with our skills and experience, have other better resources that we can share with you, and we want to give you guys that opportunity. So just let us know if you're interested. Like I said, I'm going to drop more information in the comments about it. And as the next 2 to 3 weeks go on, you'll see Sarah as well as myself in both of our groups dropping more information about the classes, about the pricing, about the location, because it could be at this time, it might be at a different time, to give more people the availability to be here, like after work or whatnot. We'll just see what happens. You guys help us determine that by letting us know if you want to be here or not, and what days and stuff and times work for you. Because at this point, you know, we're happy to find new locations and new times, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to grow and cultivate this community. for all of us, because this is something we wished we had. And we've already started to build that and create that with our own clients currently. And so now we're expanding that to you guys just as a free resource like we have been now in Meeting 5. So yeah, we're really looking forward to next month.
Yes, and if you ever think of anything that you want to hear us talk about, if you have any topics, mental health related, questions or whatever, always let us know so that we can bring y'all more information. We've talked about OCD, we've talked about depression, we've talked about anxiety, now we've talked about mindfulness,
we've talked about boundaries,
gratitude, we've talked about boundaries, we've talked about all kinds of different stuff. So let us know what y'all want to continue to hear about.
Yeah, that's why we're bringing this to you guys, because this is the next step for us. So if there's something specific that y'all want to know, if you have kids, if you have a job, if you have special needs animals like me and Sarah do, if there are certain topics, if you want to know how to better navigate the stress of home and all the things, like, you just let us know, and we have those tools to share with you, and that's why we're here.
Yeah. So just remember to be present in the current moment, be mindful of where you are now, become aware of your thoughts so that you can control them, and be aware of where you are now rather than living on autopilot. I promise you will have so much more freedom in your life when you're paying attention to the now and all of the little things that you miss other times.
I just want to say real quick, Amy, we actually have not specifically touched on shadow work, but I am more than happy and excited and thrilled to talk about that. If that is something you would like to talk about, because that is something that I am actually currently in the process of going through right now with my holistic therapist. So I'm in the middle of my shadow work right now. So that
the
is
universe brings you what you need.
So, and honestly, so funny enough, Amy mentioned that she hopped on the live as soon as we said her name. So so again, we talked about your ability to manifest with your energy, which your energy is your emotions, is your being, is extremely powerful. So we can definitely touch on shadow work. We can talk about manifesting and abundance, because I believe Sarah's even mentioned it before, the type of music you listen to matters, you guys. So your being and your mind is a very powerful thing.
Yes.
And we could literally go on forever. So let us know what you would like to talk about.
What you want to hear about. If you missed it, Amy, you won our necklace, and Melissa won our earrings.
I'm dropping all of that in the comments. I'm even dropping the hearts to let us know what classes you're interested in.
Oh, awesome.
And we just look forward to, you guys. So funny enough, I am so well versed in my mindfulness and being present that I can actually engage with you guys and still be aware of Sarah and what she's talking about, and is why I'm able to just jump right into whatever she's saying. So please don't ever think that I'm not being present with you guys and I'm not here when I'm in my phone. It's me engaging more in depth with you guys while me and Sarah sharing with you, so I can reply to you guys and share with you and learn more about you.
And I appreciate it, because we're on my phone over here, and so I can't see everything.
I can't see either, and I don't have my glasses on. Do you have your contacts? No, you got LASIK.
I got my eyes.
You had the LASIK, so yeah.
But I still can't read the little tiny screen.
It looks like little ants.
Yeah. But thank y'all for being here.
We love you guys so much. We don't have the dates for September yet. It will kind of hopefully revolve around the classes. So you guys have to let us know so we can let you know. And we'll reach out to you and touch base.
Yeah.
And see.
We'll work it all out.
Yeah. So
not
just
anymore.
Yeah, I know, right. Also, did anybody else read Sarah's shirt?
Oh.
It was perfect.
I got this shirt in Cambodia.
It was perfect. The shirt was perfect.
On Wednesdays we wear pink, but I wear
But
pink
yes,
every
you
day.
guys, I know that Melissa is not local, so I will reach out to her about shipping. I don't know if Amy is Yeah, so Amy's local.
Actually, I can probably take that home.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Amy, I'll take yours home with me.
So funny enough, I actually brought Melissa into the group, so that's why I was like, well, I could just message her about it and take care of it, and you can take care of that.
Yeah.
So it works out perfect.
I'll just bring Amy's necklace home with me. So thank you guys. Congratulations to the winners. Just stay mindful and present in your everyday life. We will get y'all all the rest of the information, and see y'all next month. Bye.